It's the final position for the tier list of Wonderkids. It is time for the goalkeepers, and probably you only actually recognize 2 of the faces on this list. So I'm hoping I can find you a little gem in your saves. But yes, I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support on the tier list Wonderkid videos that we have done so far. If there's any other types of tier lists that you want to see, tactic formations, that kind of stuff, let me know down in the comments. But let's take a look at our first goalkeeper. Now, as always, there is a very limited amount of spots for this video. There's only 10 in fact, and I have handpicked a few from the 160 potential range that I know a lot of you know, but there's just not a lot of goalkeepers on this game in Wonderkid version. So there's only one with a high fixed potential, and you know exactly who that will be already, and then there's one from 180 and about 3 from the 170. So let's take a look at Alejandro Eterbe. Coming from Atletico Madrid, the 16-year-old, this is him set to his maximum, so you can kind of see what you're getting if you decide to buy this player. And I actually think this guy is solid. He's 16 years old at the start of the game, and he is already 6'2", so height-wise, you don't have to worry too much. But some really good attributes, and the only glaring weakness I can see is agility down at 9. The rest of him, aerial reach and command of area, really solid. And this little section down here with kicking, one-on-ones, passing as well, reflexes, throwing, very good distributor of the ball, and really good with the ball at his feet. How do we rate him in the tier list though? Yes, I think he's quite solid. I'm going to stick him straight in the B tier. There is that one weakness that I think would stop him from going in the A tier, because agility is obviously quite important. You have to have quite a good agility to be making good saves, so that's where he sits. Now, although this man doesn't have a face, I had to make one for the tier list itself, so already that's a strike against his name. I'm just kidding. It's Alex Padilla from Athletic Bilbao C team. Shares a team with a number of people who have been on this list already, on these tier list videos, and so far when he is set to his maximum, again, he's a really solid goalkeeper. He's 6 foot, so he could be slightly taller. He's only 16, so he has time to grow. A lot of 16s in his goalkeeping attributes here. In fact, a lot of his attributes are 16s, because aerial reach, command of area, communication, all things which are really required to be a decent goalkeeper. Reflexes, passing, kicking and handling, also 15 or above. He doesn't really have a weakness, and I like that about him. Mental attributes are fine as well, and physicals, really solid all-round goalkeeper. Where does he sit in the tier list? Another big plus for this guy as well is his actual price, and that's why I'm going to put him above Alejandro Eterbe. Although he didn't have a face and I had to find one for you and make it in Photoshop, he sits in the B tier, above Alejandro Eterbe. Now, in the Real Madrid team, we have Andre Luan. He is the oldest player on this list, 21 years of age, and when he is set to his maximum potential, again, really solid attributes for a goalkeeper. His mentals are what is the most important here. We can see a lot of greens, in fact, in composure is obviously an anticipation, bravery, all these type of concentration, decision makings, all of these type of attributes are kind of underrated, I think, for a goalkeeper. And when your keeper has them, then maybe that is something that you need to take note of. On the technical side of things, goalkeeper, he has fantastic reflexes and handling, good at one-on-ones, just slightly low communication and aerial reach, kind of high eccentricity as well, and I can never say that word correctly. Physicals, absolutely solid. He's 6'3" as well. I can see this man being quite high on the list, and I'm very surprised nobody really talks about Andre Luan, because he's quite solid, to be fair. So for the tier list, I'm going to stick him in the A tier. I think he is that good enough, and you'll see with the rest of the players the reason why he goes quite high compared to some of the other ones. That's kind of a giveaway of the quality that we're going to see going forward. The English Charlie Setford is next, playing for Ajax. And this guy actually came through the Ajax Youth Academy. No prior stints in any other clubs. He's 16 years of age here. Solid goalkeeper, 6 foot, and when he's set to his maximum, he does have some weaknesses. That agility is high though, 17. It's actually his highest attribute. Reflexes though of only 14, and some people will see that as make or break for a goalkeeper. Strength of only 11. Of course, yours will be a lot different to mine, because when you set them to their maximum compared to when they grow to their maximum, obviously some things are going to change that. But Charlie Setford, he's also quite cheap as well. You can get for around about £1 million at the start of the game. I'm curious as to see whether anybody's actually used him or not. So, of course, let me know down in the comments if you have used him. I'm going to stick him in the C tier for now, though, because I don't think he's quite as good as the 2 Spaniards above him, and he's nowhere near as good as Andre Luan. but he does have some qualities that I think are quite valuable for a goalkeeper. Now, of course, the most expected name on the list is Luigi Donnarumma, probably the one you recognise because he's just pretty much won the Euros for Italy against England, saving 3 penalties, saving 2 out of the 3 that was missed. And he is absolutely fantastic. He has that fixed potential at the start of the game, and he is a world-class goalkeeper through and throughout. And at the start of the game even, he's really good. You can sometimes pick him up for a free transfer after a couple of seasons because his contract does run out in 2021. So when you manage to get round to that point, he sometimes hasn't signed a new deal for Milan and he will come to you. However, it's very difficult to get him to come to you unless you are a very big club. So many good attributes for the man. He is a ginormous bloke, 6'5", and he has 19 jumping reach, great agility, really good shot stopper at 19 reflexes here. I mean, he's got to be in only one tier, and he's got to be sat there by himself, surely. I don't think anybody will argue the fact that we're going to put this man in the S tier. He's been a wonder kid for a few years now on Football Manager, and probably one of the best wonder kids goalkeepers in 5 years. I can't really remember any other decent ones. Rajkovic was a good one a few years ago, Pedro Rajkovic, but now he's tailed off. Lafont was a good one a couple of years ago, again, nowhere near Donnarumma now. It just seems like Football Manager don't have a lot of world-class goalkeepers potential-wise, and this is very scary for when you're starting the game. But I think at the end of the video I'll explain what I tend to do if I'm looking for a long-term goalkeeper. Probably my favourite player on this list though is Martin van der Voort. Now, although Luigi Donnarumma has a fixed potential, this guy has the highest potential range, 180 in fact, and he is a very solid goalkeeper. He's basically what Courtois was when Courtois was 18 years of age, and when he reached this maximum, he's arguably better than Courtois because look at his goalkeeping attributes alone. There's a couple of 20s in there for one-on-ones and passing. So if you're looking for a sweeper keeper who can play out from the back, this is the man for you. He's also really good at actually shot saving because 18 reflexes, 19 positioning, 15 agility, great balance, jumping reach. There's so many things to like about Martin van der Voort. Great aerial reach, command of area, good communicator as well. What is there not to like about this guy? And arguably he should go in the S tier as well. I don't think I can put them in the S tier though. I don't think Donnarumma should be matched in that S tier because of the potential range is the only reason why I'm not going to put him in there. He is fairly cheap at the start of the game as well. I think for like less than £20 million you can pick him up. So if a goalkeeper is what you're looking for and you have £20 million, I mean there's no one better arguably than Martin van der Voort. So he goes top of the A tier, and Andre Lunin, he's far better than Andre Lunin, but there's no way I can drop Lunin down because you're going to see the reason why I can't drop anybody else down. Okay, in the 160 potential range tier, we have Manuel Gasparini. Probably another popular name. You might not recognise the face, but definitely the name from Udinese. 18 years old at the start of the game. All round, quite a solid goalkeeper. He does have a lot of strengths, but a lot of his attributes are also fairly weak as well. He's not very good at passing the ball, and a few 14s and 13s there, which in other players that we have seen already were like 16s, 17s, which just make them far more superior. But this guy is not to say that you would have a bad experience with him. He would be a very good goalkeeper for you for a long time. He just wouldn't be like the best in the league, I'd say, if you're one of these elite clubs. So I don't think I can put him very high. And I'm going to put him in the C tier. He's going to go above Charlie Setford because Charlie Setford had a few more weaknesses, but I think he's not quite as good as those two Spaniards. So CT I think is quite a fair place to put the man. A solid wonder kid for the last few years on Football Manager, Marcus Jewhouse, when he's set to his maximum of 160, again has some really good goalkeeping attributes. A few greens down here which make to look very appealing at the start. That handed and reflexes are kind of what everybody looks at, but now kicking, passing, one-on-ones is something that you also take note of. Positioning is slightly lower though. He does have really good agility and he's only 6 foot at the start of the game, meaning that although his command of area is 13, it might be slightly lower with only lower strength, jump and reach. That kind of stuff may hamper his decision makings or when he actually goes for the ball through set pieces. So that could cause a few problems if he doesn't increase in his height. At 19 years of age, you'd hope that he'd be slightly taller. But where does he sit on the tier list? I think he's okay, to be honest. I'm going to put him at the top of the C tier list. I think he's slightly better than Gasparini and Charlie Setford. Definitely the best Englishman on the list. Is he as good as the two Spaniards above him? I don't quite think so. In fact, I'm going to put him at the B tier, but I'm just going to put him at the end of the B tier. I think the two Spaniards are slightly better than him, but he does deserve to be slightly higher than Gasparini and Charlie Setford. Now, over to a player that we used recently in one of our team builders for a certain amount of money, and it's Dinelli. Now, this goalkeeper is 18 years of age. He's in the 160 potential range, and I used him because a lot of people have mentioned it before, and I used him, of course, in the video. He does have a lot of strengths, to be honest, in the physicals and mental departments. A few 17s and 16s, 20 for agility, which we've already highlighted can be very important. He's 6'2" as well, so even media describe him as a solid goalkeeper. There are some weaknesses, unfortunately, though, in the goalkeeping attributes. The command of area, aerial reach, and communication are 11s and 12s. That's not good enough in my opinion. And reflexes is only 14, so shot saving, he might not be his big strength, unfortunately. Handling though is 16, one-on-ones are 15, so he can make himself big when he comes out. And his positioning as well is only 12, which I did find quite strange, considering his teamwork is higher at 15 out of 22. So there's a lot to like about this guy, but there's also a lot to dislike with Dinelli. He is rather cheap though from Corinthians in Brazil. Brazilian goalkeepers have never been known to be amazing. There's only been a few decent ones in the past, and I think this guy follows on with that kind of trend. So unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to put him at the bottom of the C tier or in the D tier. Let's go bottom of the C tier. Let's not be too harsh, because he does have that 20 agility and a few really good attributes, and the 14s and stuff. It's hard to ignore, but at the same time, he is okay, and he is cheap as well. Let's remember that he's so cheap that if you had to pick him up, you won't be too angry with how he develops. Now, the final man on this list is 16-year-old Stefan Badgetch. Okay, now when I look at this, guys, I think I've been slightly generous with other goalkeepers. Stefan Badgetch is solid. In my opinion, he's 6'2", he has really good physicals, arguably the best physicals that we have seen outside of Donnarumma, and his mental attributes too. Bravery, concentration, positioning is very good. His vision's 15. Don't ignore that, because he also has 13 for passing, meaning that he probably is a really good sweeper keeper and a good goalkeeper with a ball at his feet too. Handling, 15, one-on-ones, 15, 16 for reflexes. I actually quite like this guy, and when I loaded this save up to do this video, I thought this would be the lowest man on the list, and now I'm contemplating other decisions. So I think we need to make a little bit of a change around with the tier list. And that is basically because I'm going to drop these men down. Charlie Setford, unfortunately, I think should go down here. I think Jewhouse should join him in the C tier there. And Stefan Badgetch, I'm actually going to put above Alejandro Eterbe. We're looking back on Eterbe and looking at Badgetch there. I think this is quite fair. I don't think he's as good as Alex Padilla, and he's nowhere near as good as the A tier, but I think he actually suits to be in that B tier. And this is the tier list I'm going to go with, finalized for goalkeepers. Do you agree with me or not? Let me know down in the comments. And once again, thank you very much for watching and for the support recently. Drop a like on the video if you can, that would be fantastic, and I'll see you very soon for another one. See you later.